The new wideout, A.J. Brown.
Just give him more chances to him. I think, you see, with the ball in his hands, what he can do. So just finding more chances, intermediate, short, deep, just not shying away from him. I'm not going to shy away from him. That's how I play. I'm going to keep going at it, and it could be the fifth play in a row. I'm going to give him the rock. So I think just, finding a way to, balance that with a player like him.
That's exactly what A.J. Brown wanted to hear when he came to New England. Mina, what are your takeaways from Maye's comments?
Yeah, I think it illustrates why so many people, myself included, like this pairing. Drake Maye is an aggressive thrower of the football. He will attempt those tight window throws, and they have been accurate to all three levels. A.J. Brown, one of the best tight window receivers in the league over the last few years. So excellent against man coverage. So even if he has slowed down a tick and maybe isn't separating the way he used to, Drake Maye will still throw him the football, and he'll use those strong hands to reel it in.
Mina, I also love this personality pairing. It's a little fire and ice. Like A.J. Brown's a little fiery. Drake Maye is so chill and calm. So it'll be fun to watch them connect. All right, speaking of which, the Giants back on the practice field today, and so is Malik Neighbors after tearing his ACL and meniscus last September. A big boost for second-year quarterback Jackson Dart in New York. And we now welcome in Mike Garafolo, who is live at Giants camp. Mike, what have you been hearing about Dart and this offense?
Molly, this is a big change, this offense for Jackson Dart, based on what he had done last year in his rookie season. So go back to the spring when the Giants were in OTAs. Matt Nagy comes in as the offensive coordinator. It was really just about learning the terminology, a lot of the motions and the shifts. Just basically, here are the words we're going to send to you. You spit them out. Make sure they're the right words. Now it's about, what do those words mean? What can you see on the field as you're calling the play and as you're going through it? And they did see that progression late in the spring and said it would continue here through the early parts of training camp, and it has. And that's something that head coach John Harbaugh backed up today when he spoke to the media.
I think he's done a great job. I mean, it's just one day at a time. There's so much. I mean, you can't even imagine how much there is for a quarterback to operate with, especially in a new offense. So, done an outstanding job. There's so much on his plate. He's pushing the envelope. He's also competing at the same time. He's a fiery guy, and I'm impressed. I'm very impressed.
When I talk to people with the Giants, they say, Dart, he's a very smart guy. He can take in a lot of information, and he's shown us the ability to do that, showing this new coaching staff that. Did have a couple of plays today where he didn't see defenders on the field. One was rookie Arvell Reese, who stepped into a lane to knock away a pass intended for Odell Beckham. Great play by Reese there, by the way. It's a credit to the defense. But also a play to end practice. Darius Alexander, the defensive tackle for the Giants, made the interception when Dart didn't see him, just a little check down pass. Harbaugh said, you want the quarterback to be aggressive in training camp. You don't want to take that away from him. But obviously, they don't want that to happen on Sundays once you get into the season.
Yeah, we've seen that before. Jackson Dart can be a little too aggressive sometimes, but he's learning from his mistakes. Mike, thanks so much for your time. So one area of concern for Jackson Dart moving forward is how many hits he's taken, staying healthy. He's had third most, in fact, of any quarterback since week 4 last year, despite playing only 12 games in that stretch. Dart also led all quarterbacks in designed runs over that span, even more than Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. So, Mina, if Jackson Dart wants to take fewer hits, what does he need to do?
Throw the football more, throw faster. Specifically faster, right? Because, some of those hits came on design runs. They got to cut those back, particularly between the tackles. A number also came on scrambles. Watching Jackson Dart back his rookie season, a lot to like. I thought he was really accurate, but I also thought he was a tick late, and sometimes that led to either bad throws, bad decisions, or him tucking the ball and running. And I think that's just what he's got to improve at in year 2. And some of that will come from experiencing the NFL, reading defenses, recognizing what he's seeing. But anticipatory throws are probably the #1 area I'd like to see Jackson Dart improve at this season, and something where the presence of Malik Neighbors would help a great deal.
Yeah, so Jackson Dart needs to make some strides this year. Mike T, what do you need to see from this Giants team before you're ready to buy in?
Well, first of all, durability from their key young offensive players, Cam Scalaboo, Malik Neighbors, and Jackson Dart. They have to stay healthy to have any sort of real chance to compete this year. This is a team that won 2 division games over the last 2 years and a total of 7 games. So I love Jackson Dart's moxie and ability, but he has to stay healthy. And then on the other side of the ball, for me, it's 2 things. One, it's turnovers. They weren't very good at creating them. Overall, they were -2 takeaway category. And then stopping the run. They were last in the league. And I'm concerned because Dexter Lawrence is not there, and you're expecting the run defense to get better. So, look, John Harbaugh was a great hire. He'll have a big imprint on this team. But I think Giant fans have to be measured and patient, that they need to take a couple steps to ultimately get to where they want to go.
Yeah, run defense is what I've got my eye on that side of the ball. Mike, you mentioned, and it should get better. It'd be hard not to, honestly, based on what we saw last season. I do think the additions, particularly a linebacker, could be significantly helpful there. Arvell Reese sounds like is going to play primarily off the ball. I think that's excellent for him. Tremaine Edmonds next to him gives them veteran experience. Their pass rushers are excellent. They're a bit undersized, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter. So having those linebackers to help protect them a little bit against the run will be extremely helpful to a defense that gave up way too many explosive runs last season.
Yeah, the Giants will have the second most rushing yards and fourth most rushing touchdowns last season. So that's got to change. All right, sticking with the Giants, it's time now for one more thing as Cam Scadaboo made headlines for doing backflips at Fanatics Fest. We all remember that. And he was asked about any lessons he learned. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I do some dumb things here and there, but I learned from it. My coach talked to me, told me how he felt, and I learned from it. And will I go do that backflip again? Probably not. So, we live and we learn, and,
This full week of training camp across the league has given us plenty to talk about. A quarterback who feels disrespected, a couple running backs who won't practice, and so much more. We're going to dive into all of it. Molly McGrath here with Mina Kimes and Mike Tannenbaum. And we're going to start first with news out of San Francisco as free agent wide receiver Deebo Samuel returns to the Bay Area on a one-year deal. He was a crucial part of the Niners offense for 6 seasons before he was traded to the Commanders last year. He adds depth to a receiver room that's dealing with injuries to Ricky Pearsall and Christian Kirk, of course. And in his 6 previous seasons in San Francisco, Deebo was one of the best in the NFL at extending plays, ranking top 5 in yards after the catch and yards per reception. The 49ers were missing that piece to their receiver game a year ago, ranking 16th in YAC in 2025. So, Mike T, let's start with you. Do you like this signing for San Francisco?
Molly, I love it. I think Deebo is a great complement to what Brock Purdy does well. In his career, Deebo has 3,500 yards run after catch. You alluded to the other graphic as well. And when you think about what Brock Purdy does well, he gets rid of the ball, he's accurate. But last year, he was only 18th in air yards. So getting the ball down the field isn't a strength of his. So when you mention the injuries they have to Kirk and more notably Ricky Pearsall, I think this is smart. This time of year, from a front office perspective, you want to bring in somebody that knows the system, something that Deebo knows well.
Yeah, I agree. It makes a lot of sense. Low-cost signing. The yards after the catch are still there, by the way, if you watched him. And I do think that component you just said was missing in the offense last year is a nice complement to the rest of the group. I just wish they had more downfield speed, someone who could separate at the second and third level. Mike Evans, at this point, will occasionally give you some options on go balls, but he's more of a ball winner, red zone threat. The wide receiver they drafted in the second round, John Stribling, he has really fast straight line speed, but isn't as much of a separator and crafty route runner downfield. I thought Pearsall was that Z receiver that was kind of missing and would be a nice complement to those guys, but losing him really hurts, and I do think that's a component of the offense I wish they had, quite frankly, because the amount of attention paid to the run game, this team faces a ton of stacked boxes and single high coverage, does create those opportunities downfield for a receiver.
Yeah, and Samuel adds that depth, but he's not 2021 All-Pro Deebo, so they definitely need a little bit of help in that room. Mike, you mentioned from a front office perspective, putting on your GM hat, the Niners have dealt with their share of injuries the last few seasons, so how do you build enough depth to make sure that that doesn't derail yet another season for them?
Molly, I think it's what they did today, and I think what Mina points out is absolutely correct. It's not ideal. Again, you'd like somebody younger and faster, but when you're sitting here on July 31st, this is really what's available, the older veterans. So to me, this is a great sort of patch on things. Hopefully Stribling develops and he can contribute. Maybe Pearsall comes back, but the first thing I thought of, candidly, guys, was when I saw this signing, they must be really worried about Ricky Pearsall's need to go out and sign Deebo Samuel at this point.
Yeah, there's, quote, a lot of concern surrounding that injury, so that's something we're definitely going to keep an eye on as we look at the 49ers. Now we go to just north of Kansas City, where quarterback Patrick Mahomes' recovery is ahead of schedule, fully participating in all team drills in training camp after suffering a season-ending left knee injury last year. Mahomes says he plans to be ready for their Week 1 divisional matchup against the Broncos, so let's talk about it. Let's bring in Dan Graziano, who's at Chiefs training camp. Graz, what can you tell us about how Patrick Mahomes has looked at camp and kind of their plans for him moving forward?
Yeah, Molly, if you watched him throw today, you would think that nothing ever happened. He looked like old Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he had a laser beam down the middle of the field to rookie receiver Cyrus Allen in coverage that just blew the crowd away. So, yeah, and a few more like that were right on the money. He looks like a guy that's got a chance to have some success in this league. Of course, he's also wearing a big bulky brace on that left knee, that surgically repaired left knee. And you can see him playing with it and fiddling with it a little bit during practice as he moves around. But he's trying to test it out. He'll roll out to his left and throw off of his left foot. So he's trying to put it through some tests. They haven't had pads on yet. The first time they put pads on in practice here will be Monday. So that'll be another step, him feeling how that brace feels when he's got everything else on. But I went down after practice and I saw their general manager, Brett Veach, and the first thing he said was, hey, how about our quarterback? So they're excited. They're very happy with where Patrick Mahomes is in his rehab. He spent most of his time here at their facility throughout the offseason, in between celebrity weddings and other things he had to attend. But they're very excited about where he is in his rehab. And while they're not putting any kind of timetable on it, Week 1 certainly does sound like it's realistic.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, Graz. Mike T, looking at what Graziano said, I mean, Mahomes back on the practice field week one really looking like a serious possibility. How do you find the balance between kind of easing him into action and letting him be the quarterback and the playmaker he's always been?
Yeah, Molly, that's a great question. It's gradual. And the quarterbacks I've been around that have had either ACLs or Achilles tendon injuries on their left side as a right-handed quarterback, it just takes a while, and here's why. That's an exposed leg, and until they're actually hit on that leg, go to the ground and get up, they're really never fully over the injury until that point. So he may be medically cleared. There's reasons to be encouraged. I have no doubt he'll be a great player again.